the sound you hear is a coffee machine. I mean a spooky coffee machine. In the writer's room at the Octoberpod Ranch in the Great Smoky Mountains. This is the start of Octoberpod. I'm author and podcaster Whitney Zahar. I'm also the newest addition to the writing staff here at Octoberpod. I wrote the story about the old-timey swamp ghosts from a few weeks back. And, I also wrote Touched by a Vampire. Anyway, I'm here because we're supposed to be having a writer's summit to break down the stories we'll produce for the remainder of Season 5. And, actually, it's my first time here. I was really looking forward to meeting Ed and Amber Jordan and MJ McAdams and John Iger in person. Yes, I've heard those rumors about John Iger too, but I refuse to believe them. And besides, a jury acquitted him of all charges, so there's that. Anyway, I thought I'd start brewing a pot of coffee, but it doesn't look like anyone's here. There aren't any empty bottles of Wild Turkey or discount girly magazines lying about, so I'd say it's a safe bet that not even Rollo is here. Ooh, which is, that's a good thing. He kinda scares me. Anywho, got my notebook and my pen, ready to write, and everyone has ghosted me. Guess I'll just check out the whiteboard. Looks like Ed and the other writers have some story ideas jotted down here. Let's see. Rollo gets gender swapped? Rollo surprise pregnancy? Ugh, that sounds odd. Let's see. Found footage Jekyll and Hyde, but it's a musical? That's pretty corny. Well, sounds like we've got a lot of work to do if we're going to whip this season into shape. Ladies and gentlemen, I know you can't see this, but there's a dry erase marker floating in midair. It looks like an invisible hand is using it to write a message on the whiteboard. Hey, didn't we already use that gag on the Halloween episode? Come to think of it, that's part I wrote. Anyway, let me just get closer to see what it says. This is Ed. I'm trapped in the spirit world. Botched Exorcism. The other writers are here with me. Long story. No meeting today. Please, help me. Oh, hiya, Ed. Of course I will help. What do you need? Play the tape. Well, what tape? I don't see a... Oh, wait. Ladies and gentlemen, I've just found a Masters of the Universe boombox from the 1980s. It's shaped like Castle Grayskull. Neat. Looks like there's an old mixtape inside. According to the handwritten label, this has an episode of the podcast Twisted Uncorked recorded on it. Now why would... Oh! I bet this episode has a clue or an incantation in it that will help me free Ed and the other writers from the spirit world. Okay, folks, sit tight. I'm sure the ladies at Twisted Uncorked will help us get to the bottom of this. I'll be back during the intermission to let you know if playing the tape worked or not.
I'm Alicia.
And I'm Sierra.
And this is
Twisted and Uncorked.
Hello and welcome to episode 209 of your favorite podcast. This is Twisted and Uncorked, and today, in true Alicia fashion, well, I should say true us fashion, I have switched my story at the last second.
Nice.
For those that don't know the names Ed and Lorraine Warrens, today is not that episode, but I do intend to cover them and some of their investigations in the future. And speaking of investigations, sometimes those go long and late, and you need caffeine to get you through. So that's why today's episode pairs well with an espresso martini.
Yay!
I'm sorry, I had a segue, and I know you were going to say something.
Oh, I was just going to say, you told me that you were going down rabbit holes. If you want to continue down rabbit holes, Ed and Lorraine Warren are not good people at all.
No.
Hop
We
down
already
that
knew
rabbit
that.
hole.
We already knew that. They are problematic in their own right. That does not make me not a fan of the spooky things that they have come to collect over the years, or the Conjuring franchise, because I love a good spooky movie. But yes, they are deeply problematic, and that will be a part of my coverage. But, that said, I don't think Ed and Lorraine Warren were drinking espresso martinis back in the day when they were, waiting investigations out, but because it is still technically summer as we record this, and it is still super hot here, one of the drinks of summer was an espresso martini as well. So I thought I would combine coffee and something delicious. And I actually don't have an espresso glass, a martini glass, because I apparently broke and or got rid of all of my barware other than champagne and wine glasses. So I made mine in my spooky little skull glass, complete with some espresso dusting on top. And I have more on the side because this glass is really small. But yes, don't judge me. It isn't a pickle jar that I use to shake because I don't have a bar shaker either. This is Alicia's ratchet bar over here, but it is delicious. And because it is morning, I'm drinking a non-boozy version. So I will tell you about that first. And I'm assuming Sierra did the same. So I have, in this jar, I did 4 shots of espresso because I really like strong coffee. I did Fairlife chocolate milk in place of Kahlua. It also has protein in it, so that's an added bonus. And I did my friend's coffee syrups that Kevin got me, mocha syrup. And I shook that over ice and garnished it as such, and it is delicious. But traditionally, oh my god, I can't speak. Traditionally, espresso martinis are 1 ounce of vodka, 1.5 ounces of Kahlua, 1 to 2 ounces of espresso shaken over ice and poured into a martini glass to enjoy. You can add simple syrup if you like, but I find Kahlua, the chocolatey coffee-ness of it, to be sweet enough, because I actually don't put sweetener in my coffee in my day-to-day, so that is what we are drinking today. How did you make yours? Did you get to use your fancy coffee machine?
I did use my fancy coffee machine. It's just a Keurig. It's not that fancy. But I just made, so I also don't have a martini glass. This is my Marie Antoinette glass.
The glass that just keeps on giving.
Yes. I did have, in the photo, you will see, dark chocolate syrup all around it, and it looked really pretty. I did 2 shots of, what was it called? Amaretto coffee that I got in Dahlonega, and then milk that I frothed into like creamer over top. That's it. It's very good though.
As it turns out, my reusable pickle jar is not very friendly for repouring, as I spill all over my keyboard. And I'm in true trash humanism fashion using my silk scrunchie that I use to hold my hair up at night to clean it because I have nothing else close to me. So later when Kevin wonders why I smell like coffee, we all know why.
That's why. I did not have, what am I talking about? I did not know that you were doing a spooky episode today. However, yesterday, well, we're recording this, was September 1st, and so, of course, I brought out all my spooky stuff. And when I made this and took a photo, I wanted to take a photo with my spooky stuff. And now that I know this is a spooky episode, I feel like it just fits perfectly.
Like I said in the intro, I am covering a series of haunted objects on my tour in the Warren Museum. And I am purposefully not covering Annabelle. We all know of her infamy in the haunted department, but I'm saving it for an episode meant specifically for her because there is enough history and events that have surrounded her to make a full episode. But there is another haunted doll in the Warren Museum that often doesn't get a lot of credit, maybe because it is downright terrifying. The Shadow Doll is one of the most notorious and frightening artifacts, believed to have been used in occult rituals and crafted explicitly to cause harm, which I hate. And I'm going to show you a picture of Shadow Doll before I tell you about them. Also, I really freaked myself out in the research because of what I'm about to tell you, but I didn't think you were supposed to look at it at all. And then I was like, wait, I've seen it like 10 times.
It's okay to look at, though?
Yes.
Okay.
It's just horrifying.
Because there are definitely some haunting things already happening in my house, so I don't need more.
Oh, well, maybe you can tell us about that. Okay, can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is Shadow Doll. And I am going to leave this image up while I tell you about it. It was created in a ritual, allegedly, but the origins are a little murky. Apparently, the creator of the doll made it so that when you sent a photo of it to a person with what you wanted to curse them with written on the back of the photo, it said that seeing the photo of the doll with the written curse would curse whoever saw it. When I was originally doing my research, though, I read that as whoever sees a photo of this doll is cursed. And I'm like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
I feel like I was set up to fail. But it doesn't make sense that they would have it openly on display if that was the case. So you write the curse on the back of the photo and you send it to whoever you want to harm. And that's horrible in its own right. But it's not the photo and the written word of it that is specifically what kills you. Apparently, the curse is that the doll will visit you in your dreams and give you a nightmare so terrifying that, according to Ed Warren, could stop people's hearts, causing them to die.
So it's Freddy Krueger.
Pretty much.
Damn.
The doll can only kill you, allegedly, from within your dreams. The doll is described as being assembled from human bones and animal parts. And as you can see from the photo, the hair of the doll is actually raven feathers. The doll even has a human tooth embedded in its mouth, and no one knows where it came from. The last owners before the Warrens, and now Matt Rife, which we will get to, was a couple that brought it home, buying it at a thrift store, thinking that it was just an interesting and eclectic item. But immediately the couple felt immense dread and began waking up in the middle of the night every night. They knew something was off about it, and having examined it closer, they realized that there was real bones in the doll. So they returned it. That is when it got wind to the Warrens, and the Warrens are like, we should take it and keep it. And that is how it ended up in their possession. But recipients of the cursed doll photos have reportedly suffered terrifying nightmares where the shadow doll appears to try and strangle or kill them in some way in their dreams, sometimes resulting in scratches and claw marks on their body, if they make it awake alive. Visitors and mediums claim that the doll emits a dark mist-like aura from behind its case, and people like to give it a wide berth, understandably, in the museum. The next object on our haunted tour is the cursed wedding dress. The cursed wedding dress has a tragic history. According to the Warrens, the dress belonged to a young woman who committed murder on her wedding day, specifically stabbing her groom to death. When his death was investigated, there was no blood on her dress, and she had no memory of anything, ruling the murder as unsolved. After her death, the dress was passed down through her family, and strange occurrences followed wherever it went, with murders taking place at other weddings. Those who tried the dress on reported feelings of anger, jealousy, and violence, often accompanied by physical attacks or accidents. The Warrens noted a string of attacks at weddings in the area and thought it was very strange before they took a look into it themselves to investigate. They found that dress wearers were allegedly possessed, only to have it broken when the dress was removed, which is why the original owner had no memory of what had happened to her soon-to-be husband. The dress is now locked away in the museum, where it is considered too dangerous to be worn or handled. You see this dress featured in Annabelle Comes Home.
The fact that it had no blood on it and stuff
is the weird part.
That just makes me think she didn't fucking do it and someone's framing her.
But how do you explain the attacks at the other places?
People gave the dress bad intentions. They manifested it by calling it bad. And so then it was bad.
Fair enough. Part of the reason that some of these things are considered problematic too is that there's written record of it, but most of the written record was within the Warrens museum to begin with. So, I mean, the dress could be the result of an urban legend, because there's multiple urban legends of cursed wedding dresses where something happens to a bride on their wedding day and so on and so forth. But part of believing in magic to me is also believing in things that are really creepy. So who knows? Maybe.
Oh, I definitely believe in creepy shit also. I just feel like
you wonder if she was.
I just feel like people were really fucking mean to women a lot.
It's true.
All the time.
It's true.
And so
especially in like the 1950s, 60s,
probably
70s
murdered
when
that
that dress
man
was worn. Yeah.
and blamed a woman.
Yeah. Fair enough. There was also a horror movie that is not Conjuring related, that was based on the cursed dress at the Warren Museum, and it's called The Bride. I've never seen it, but people have said that it is really scary. But it's like a slasher, and those are never my favorite types of horror movies unless it's Scream.
Is Scream a slasher?
Scream is a slasher, but Scream is one of my favorite series.
I feel like it's too I don't even know the right word. It's too funny to be a slasher.
Well, that's
like funny.
For sure. Like Halloween, like anybody wearing a mask, it took away like a little bit of the fear aspect for me. Until the movie, whatever that movie is, The Visitors or whatever, where they're like staying in a cabin in the woods and these like masked people. No. Scary. The next object on our haunted tour is the Conjuring Mirror, which you can probably see here. It is 1.5 meters tall. It's an ornate mirror that came from the home of 55-year-old Stephen Zellner in northern New Jersey. Allegedly, he used it to practice an ancient medieval ritual in order to contact spirits. Just a normal Tuesday for some of us, right? So, Octoberpod, as it was known, involved a mirror dangling from a thread or a string until the bottom edge of the mirror touched water. The reflections would bounce off the water and the mirror and would create visions of the future. In the 16th century, Nostradamus, who was said to have used mirrors made of obsidian for his predictions in an act that he called scrying. We know that obsidian is a protective crystal along with black tourmaline, so maybe it was his way of doing it safely, and the 16th century was just way ahead of its game. But mirrors are not solely used for visions of the future. They can be used for darker magic, like extracting revenge on those the performer wishes to harm. It's believed that Stephen fell into that category. He performed the incantation, inviting a spirit to show him a future. At first, he didn't see anything, but as days went on and the more he practiced, small blurred shadows started rushing by just out of his sight. They told Stephen that he was getting closer to his goals. Months went on with him concentrating on the mirror, to being able to bring him a spirit or somebody to tell a future or to help him in his wishes. And at first, Stephen could see the events of his own future, days, weeks in advance, but he wanted more. He wanted to exact revenge on those who had wronged him in the past, which no matter how far I dove into my research, I could not figure out who wronged Stephen and in what way, but he was just an angry man.
Yeah, it seems like probably someone accidentally stepped on his shoe at a grocery store or something.
If something that small could involve somebody performing incantations in a mirror to exact revenge on you.
How
big is your bar?
This is life. Okay, this is why religion exists.
Like, I feel like if somebody like
people from doing shit like this
murdered like Thumper, I feel like that would warrant mirror revenge.
Oh my gosh!
No, I'm joking. But if somebody stepped on my toe at a grocery store, I don't know. But I don't know what happened to Stephen. So before anybody asks. He began to focus on the images of those that he specifically wanted to suffer in the mirror, and before long he could see them in the reflection. He could see their futures and the events of their days, weeks, months in advance. But soon he was not only able to see the events that were set to happen, but also intervene with them. He could call on his spirit friends in the mirror to cause injuries to those he wished. He became obsessed with the power. But Stephen had made a costly mistake. The spirits that he let loose on his enemies also took residence in his home. Stephen started hearing disembodied footsteps, heavy breathing, and other noises throughout his empty home at all hours of the night. He lived alone. Doors would open and slam on their own, objects would fly around the house, and Stephen started to fear for his own life. He knew it was only a matter of time before the spirits would turn on him. He reached out to a local Catholic priest begging for help, and the priest in turn sent them to the famed paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren. They dropped everything to help, and when the Warrens reached his home, they almost immediately received an unwelcome guest. In order to put an end to the haunting, the Warrens performed a reverse incantation and sealed the evil back into the mirror while preventing any future damage that Stephen had already unleashed on his enemies, thankfully. The Warrens believed that the mirror acted as a portal, allowing demonic entities to cross over into our world. After conducting an investigation and blessing the home, the Warrens took the mirror to their museum, where it remains to this day as one of the most dangerous objects in their collection. Visitors to the museum reported feeling nauseous or dizzy after standing near the mirror, and some claimed to have seen flickering shadows or strange faces appear in the collection. The mirror is still housed in the museum, but today it is covered in order to prevent anyone from accidentally gazing into it. Which, don't love that.
Goodness gracious.
And it also, in my research, everywhere was be careful, when you go thrift shopping, what mirror you're bringing into your home, cleanse mirrors, use crystals to protect the surfaces. Case in point, if anyone forgot Sierra's story from her old home when Jessie moved her crystals, don't move the crystals.
Yeah, leave the crystals in front of the mirrors, okay?
And I also thought that it was interesting when they were talking about these incantations that they used mirrors made of obsidian. I think that's it was like two birds, one stone. They were on to something back then, guys. But you look at that mirror and you don't see anything out of the ordinary. So it's
it's really pretty.
It is a really pretty mirror. It is a mirror that I might pick up in a thrift store.
Yeah.
And in my resources, I included some mirror cleansing tips and tricks on different witchcraft websites if anyone is interested. If anyone also likes to thrift shop. Have you ever bought a mirror at a thrift store?
At a thrift store, I don't think so. I'm trying to imagine all of the mirrors in my house.
Like a secondhand store of some sort. Like a mirror that was not in your home when you already moved in.
I never buy brand new stuff, but it's always bought for me. So every mirror that I am picturing in my house right now either already existed in this house when we moved in, or was purchased for me new, or was handed down to me from a family member or friend. So never in a store.
Is your ghosty stuff mirror or reflective surface related?
Do I?
Currently, what's happening in your house?
No.
Okay. We move on. So I do want to know about that, but if it was mirror related, I was tell it now.
Yeah.
The next object on our haunted tour is known as the Satanic Idol. According to records, it was found in 1991 by a deer hunter in Connecticut. He got lost in the woods and after some time stumbled upon a raised circular rock formation with the idol standing in the middle of it. He immediately felt uncomfortable and left the area looking for his vehicle. Along the way, he noticed an elderly gentleman walking alongside him through the woods, completely dressed in black. The man never spoke to the deer hunter, and he grew more and more nervous, rightfully so, and just yelled out, "How do I get out of here?" And the man simply pointed and walked away. Which I don't love, so I'll show you the idol. Like, something about a person dressed all in black walking through the woods, like, alongside you, no?
Yeah, no.
Like, that's actually included in many horror movies for a reason. It's deeply unsettling. And this statue is deeply unsettling. I don't think you're ready for it. When I first saw it, it made my eyes...
Not yet. Oh. What the f***? What is it?
I don't know.
Why is it?
It appears to be made out of rock and bone, and it is deeply unsettling.
It appears to be a really crude statue of a jester, but someone who is not a great artist.
Oh, I don't know what about it, but I would have felt uncomfortable if I saw that in the woods too.
Yeah.
He was obviously unsettled by this encounter and contacted Ed Warren, who in turn asked him to show him where he had seen this formation and the statue. They did eventually find it, and Ed removed it from the area and placed it in the museum. But that's when things got a little stranger. Approximately 3 days after removing the idol, Lorraine collapsed for an unknown reason. She was moved to the hospital where no doctor could identify anything that was wrong with her, but after 3 days she eventually came around. Ed believed that it was caused by the gentleman who had followed the hunter through the woods, who was said to have been a high priest in a cult. It was a payback, allegedly, for removing the satanic idol. I'm like, I would just be like, if you want it back, just take it. Like, I don't. I don't want it. And also interesting that it was 3 days and 3 days.
Yeah. Also, though, like, leave stuff in the woods, okay? Leave no trace, right?
That's very
Take a photo, leave it there.
That's very true. Do we need to revisit the cursed woods? Like, don't take the fossils, just leave them. Leave the petrified wood where it lies. For many, no. After Lorraine's death, not related to the satanic idol, in April of 2019, at the age of 92, the Warren Occult Museum was forced to close its doors after decades of being open to the public due to zoning issues. The museum is located in a residential neighborhood, given it is in the basement of the Warren home, and it was not properly zoned to accommodate the increasing number of visitors each year, and local authorities ordered it to close. After many years, the museum and its objects remained under the careful watch of the couple's daughter Judy and their son-in-law Tony, until this year when comedian Matt Rife bought the museum and the Warren home. Much like this girl, Matt is obsessed with all things spooky and has had a long fascination with the Warrens' cases and their influence on the paranormal world today. He plans to reopen the museum and allow overnight stays as an Airbnb. There is some controversy, though, about the change of hands, and of course, but to my understanding, Judy and Tony couldn't afford to keep the home and their own home, and will be in close contact with Matt and ensure that the history is upheld and the objects are held and treated properly. Every time the Warrens would bring an object into the museum, they would note what had happened, the history, what to do and not to do with it, and like how to care for it properly. According to a statement from Judy and Tony, quote, "They bought the building that houses the objects. They will be leasing the artifacts from Judy and I for a fee. They would find a suitable location to open a museum down the road and the house and artifacts and give tours. At no time will they own the artifacts. The lease is at least for 5 years, at which time we can negotiate further lease objects or have the artifacts returned to us," end quote. And as Ed Warren himself said, no one owns these objects.
Yeah.
Because everyone was like, ooh, R.I.P. Matt Rife. And it's like, okay, well, that's dark. Like, come on.
Well, I mean, can you blame them?
I know. I mean, definitely unsettling. And I did definitely go down the Google Maps road to the Warren home. And their home is not blurred out on Google Maps, but everyone else's home around
Oh my god.
which I thought was funny because it's like
That
a
is
reverse
funny.
of our theory. But can you imagine just living down the street from the Warren Museum? Like Annabelle's in the ground over there? No, thank you.
Yeah.
So I can't say that I blame them for that.
Creepy.
Other objects in the museum include skulls, vampire coffins, and the Pearls of Death, which was a set of pearls given to a woman by a family member, and when she placed it on her neck, it felt like she was being strangled. Other people that have put it on have reported the same feeling, so it now remains safely in the Warren Museum. No one knows the history of the pearls before that, but they do appear to be from the late 1800s, early 1900s. And there are all sorts of creepy objects in the museum, skulls, a tiki outfit that is also seen in a lot of the Conjuring movies, and of course, Annabelle.
Yuck.
The newest movie in the Conjuring franchise releases, like I said, on September 5th. It is The Conjuring, The Last Rite, and it is based on the Smurl family, or
Smurl sounds right.
Smurl. Yes. Thank you. I was just like, I don't want to get that name wrong. And I couldn't for my life remember the one that you had covered that's also a famous movie, but it's not Ed and Lorraine Warren themed. It happened in the UK. The Edinburgh or something hauntings?
I don't know.
You remember that though, right? The girl that was levitated?
The what?
Enfield's Poltergeist. There it is.
Oh, yeah.
In the back of my mind, I was like, wait, is it based off that? And then I was like, no, that's not related, but similar and creepy. If you guys haven't listened to that episode, I think it was, let me tell you, Enfield Poltergeist. That was a really good episode. I don't remember what I called it. Stay tuned. I will insert accordingly, guys. I think it's like in the 70s somewhere. So I'm super excited about that. And it is being hinted, unfortunately, that this will be the last movie in the franchise, according to statements from Vera Farmiga. In my research and even watching the movies over the years, I've always thought that it was clever the way that they included copies of the real objects in their museum and teasers to different storylines. For example, like I said, the cursed wedding dress is shown in Annabelle Comes Home, along with many other items from the museum, as in this movie, they break into the room after their daughter's babysitter shows a little too much curiosity. But if you're paying attention in any of the films, you will see some Easter eggs, which I always think is very fun and clever when movies do that. And that is my haunted tour of some of the cursed objects in the Warren Museum.
That's fun.
I definitely went down a rabbit hole for the last 3 days. As soon as I realized the timing, I'm like, no, I gotta put my conspiracy episode on hold for a quick minute. So I will cover that the week after next because it is really weird, and I'm always curious to know Sierra's theories on things that are unexplained.
Yeah.
But that said, the shadow doll is definitely the creepiest, in my opinion, out of what I've covered today. And possibly the most believable. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Would you go stay at the Airbnb when Matt Rife opens it?
No.
That's where you draw the line.
Well, even if it doesn't have any of the stuff in it, just because, like we said, Ed and Lorraine were very problematic, and things happened in that house criminally that I just don't want to be a part
involving children.
of. Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah, we will talk about their history at some point because I do fully believe that in terms of demonologists, they were credible in some ways, but they did also falsify findings at times in order to make a name for themselves. And Ed Warren allegedly had an definitely, girlfriend living in their home, and because, like Sierra said, women really aren't taken seriously or respected in these eras. Lorraine, not wanting to divorce her husband, just kind of stood idly by, which makes her just as complacent, in my opinion. But I also understand the time period that she was in, and that it's not always easy when your husband's a piece of shit. So,
yeah.
But yeah, that is the Cliff Notes version.
Cliff Notes
version. But their history is still fascinating. I still think that it's super cool that he's going to be reopening the museum. Part of me would love to see it. I mean, even though I hate Zach Bagans, that museum experience was one of the coolest things I've ever done. So
if he can put the items in a museum, an actual museum, not in that house anymore,
I think that's
I would
the goal.
Sure
from the statement. It said down the road. So I don't think they're intending to keep it in the original home.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's because it's structural
I would
issues.
not for sure stay at that Airbnb though. I would
Correct.
not.
If the Airbnb
is a
separate building though, then yes.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah, I get it. Like even the Villisca axe murder house, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I understand why people would want to stay in there for haunted purposes or whatever, but I just don't. I don't want to be in that energy. I don't.
It feels icky.
It does feel icky. And I'm
agree.
not saying that people who want to be there feel icky. I don't want that on me.
Fair.
It would take too many showers to clear myself of that feeling. I just cannot. I can't.
Or I think I would stay the night there, but I would never be able to sleep. Like the Lizzie Borden house, I would never be able to sleep there. Again, it's not like knowing that a place is haunted, I would love to stay there, but I don't think I will ever be able to sleep there, especially if like a records documented murder occurred there.
Right. The Lizzie, maybe it's a kid thing. The Lizzie Borden house doesn't freak me out as much. Doesn't give me as much
showers.
Right. But because of Ed's allegedly definitely entanglement with a child and the Villisca axe murder house having children die, too icky for me. Too icky.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think it's interesting for sure. Yeah, I know 3 kids were murdered. Yeah, it's horrible. Horrible stuff. So, I'm just curious to see what's going to happen with this. And if you guys go and see the new Conjuring movie, please let me know how you enjoyed it with no spoilers, because you might see it before me. But I'm excited. I think that, the actors that have done that movie have done an amazing job over the years. I also love that Ed, the guy that plays Ed Warren, is in the Insidious movies, which is another favorite franchise of mine. So he does creepy really well. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Happy spooky season. And we will see you next week for, I think Sierra said she was also covering a conspiracy.
So I am doing a conspiracy.
Can't wait to see what that is. And we love you guys lots. Go leave those 5-star ratings and reviews. And in the meantime,
keep it twisted.
Welcome back, folks. It's me, author and Octoberpod staffer, Whitney Zahar. I'm in the break room at the Octoberpod Ranch. And as you may have guessed, Ed and the gang are still trapped in the spirit world after conducting some sort of botched exorcism. All of this horror business has made me quite hungry. And since this is when we normally have an intermission, I thought I'd run to the break room for a snack. Say what you will about the shoddy condition of the writer's room, but the break room is as fully stocked as a drive-in movie concession stand. Let's see what we've got. Let's see. Ed's got all the stuff you need to make hot dogs with all the fixins. Meh, too much cooking. What else? Ooh, looks like there's some microwave popcorn, kettle corn, popcorn balls, frozen corn fritters, frozen corn dogs, frozen corn dog nuggets, frozen microwavable funnel cakes, nacho chips with microwavable plastic cheese, Tony's frozen pizza, candies of all kinds, and a discount brand of Uncrustables called Uncrustworthies. The fridge is full of an assortment of sparkling soft drinks and chocolate toddy. And under the sink, there's a carton after carton of all of Rollo's favorite cigarette brands. Ooh, what's in this box? Cereal? Ghost bites. What in the world? Bite-sized nuggets of ghostly goodness from the makers of Brew Crime. Wait a minute. This isn't a breakfast cereal. It's another podcast. Oh, I get it. This isn't an intermission snack. This is the intermission program. It's intermission time, folks. Time to have a stretch and grab your favorite treats. Or have a smoke in the comfort of your own home or car. And while you do, Mike and JT from Brew Crime Podcast have some extra spooky ghost bites for you.
Welcome to Ghost Bites, the podcast that stirs up the history of hauntings, one terrifying morsel at a time. I'm Mike.
And I'm your co-ghost, JT, ready to add a little seasoning to these spooky stories.
Before we dive into our main story today, I have to ask you, what's your biggest fear about staying the night in a haunted house?
Oh, that's easy. It's not the ghosts. It's getting a bad night's sleep. I mean, if I'm paying to be terrified, I at least expect to be well rested enough to run away from whatever's chasing me. Plus, I hate when the ghosts don't have good Wi-Fi. How am I supposed to post, like, a ghost selfie on Instagram if I can't connect?
Today we're discussing one of the most infamous unsolved cases in American history, the Villisca Axe Murder House. It's a quaint-looking home in Villisca, Iowa, that hides a horrific past.
Quaint? That house is about as quaint as a haunted doll factory. It's a place where you go to get your ghost on, and maybe a little more if you're not careful.
On the night of June 9th, 1912, the 6 members of the Moore family, Josiah, his wife Sarah, and their 4 children returned from a church event. 2 neighborhood children, Ina May and Lena Stillinger, were also staying the night. Sometime after midnight, an unknown assailant entered the house and murdered all 8 people in their sleep with an axe.
So, a church social that ended with an axe. Serious mood killer. You know, it's a bad day when you go to bed after a fun night out and wake up to a cold, hard axe to the head. That is a 5-star bad review right there.
The killer started with the parents, Josiah and Sarah Moore, in their bedroom. Josiah received dozens of blows, with the axe striking the ceiling above the bed. The children were also brutally murdered. The killer then covered the victims with bedcloths and left the axe at the scene.
And talk about a messy crime scene. The killer was so committed to the job, he was practically redecorating. And I can almost hear him like, oh, this blanket would look so nice on his head. And this axe, it'll look great next to the dresser.
A key part of the mystery is what the killer did after the murders. The attacker covered every mirror and window in the house with blankets or clothing. A gas lamp with its wick turned down low was found, and full of bloody water was found in the kitchen.
So, killer wasn't exactly a neat freak. He was a serial killer with a flair for the dramatic and a strict no mirror policy. Okay, so I've murdered everyone. Now for the most important part. Marie Kondo in this. Does this mirror bring me joy? It does not. I mean, come on. You can't have bad luck on top of all the murder.
The crime wasn't discovered until the next morning when a neighbor, Mary Peckham, noticed the house was unnervingly silent. The family hadn't been up to their usual morning chores. She called Josiah's brother, Ross Moore, who found the gruesome scene and alerted the authorities.
It's a good thing this neighbor was paying attention, because the police investigation was, well, let's just say it wasn't up to modern standards. The entire town, and I mean the entire town, was allowed to walk through the house. It became a morbid tourist attraction before it even became a ghost house.
The lack of modern forensic techniques, coupled with the contamination of the crime scene by hundreds of curious onlookers, made the investigation incredibly difficult. Many suspects were considered, but no one was ever convicted.
It's like a real game of Clue, but with an axe and a whole town full of red herrings. Like, was it Reverend Kelly, the traveling minister, who was in town that night? Or Frank F. Jones, Josiah Moore's business rival? Or was it some random drifter? The world may never know, because the whole town touched everything.
One of the main suspects was Reverend George Kelly, a traveling Presbyterian minister who was in Villisca the night of the murders. He was known to have mental health issues and was later tried for the murders, but the case ended in a hung jury and an acquittal.
A schizophrenic minister who confessed and then recanted. That's a pretty strong resume for what could be a serial killer, or to be Joel Osteen. He was so close to being the guy, but the jury just didn't want to give him a win.
In the 1990s, the house was purchased and restored by historians Darwin and Martha Lynn. They painstakingly returned it to its 1912 appearance and opened it up for tours and overnight stays, where visitors have reported strange phenomena.
So they made it a place where you can pay to be terrified. It's like a haunted bed and breakfast, but the breakfast is just a feeling of dread, and the beds are where people were brutally murdered. And for a little extra cash, you can get a ghost to whisper in your ear.
Or bite your ear.
Axe not what your country can do for you. Axe what you can do for your country.
Visitors have reported hearing children's voices, seeing apparitions, and even experiencing physical assaults. Some people have been scratched or pushed, and objects have been moved. One paranormal investigator was even hospitalized after a series of encounters in the house.
Yeah, I think I'm going to pass on that sleepover. I prefer my haunted experiences to be a little less hands-on. I'm not looking for a ghost to get too friendly with me. Like, that's a whole new level of creepy.
And that was our story on the Villisca Axe Murder House. We hope you enjoyed this bite of history.
That was a doozy, and it makes me wonder if the ghosts get a good night's sleep in that house. I mean, gotta be tired from all the haunting, and what's their benefits package?
I doubt they get much rest, but on that note, we're all out of time for this episode of Ghost Bites.
Yeah, thanks for joining us for a night of scares and laughs. Just remember, if you're staying in a haunted house, bring a portable charger. You don't want your phone to die right when you're about to capture some paranormal evidence or an axe.
We're traveling now to San Jose, California, to the heart of another iconic and unsettling mystery. Sarah Winchester, the heiress to the Winchester Repeating Arms fortune, was a woman of immense wealth and profound personal tragedy. She lost her infant daughter and, later, her husband, William Wirt Winchester. This backdrop of grief is the foundation for the most famous legend about the house she built.
It's a classic tale. A wealthy, guilt-ridden widow. Her husband's fortune was built on the Winchester repeating rifle. You know, the gun that won the West. Exactly. And a medium told her that she was haunted by the ghosts of everyone killed by that rifle, and she had to build a house to appease them. Which is a terrible business model for a ghost. Like, you get a job as a ghost, and the first thing you have to do is find a house? No. You have to find a house, and then you have to find some poor soul to build you a house for 38 years. It's like, I died, I'm a ghost, can I at least get an apartment that's already finished?
The legend is fueled by the house's truly bizarre architectural features. It's a labyrinth of oddities, from doors that open to a 2-story drop to staircases that lead directly into the ceiling. It's a literal maze of dead ends and confusing passages.
And you can't even tell me that that's not a cry for help? A door that opens to a 2-story drop? That is a passive-aggressive way of saying, you're not invited? I've been to houses that have a weird door, but this is the door of despair. It's a fun house, but the fun is watching people get lost and have to rethink every life decision that led them to that staircase that goes into a wall.
Here is where the story of Sarah Winchester becomes far more complex and perhaps more compelling than the legend itself. The claim that she was guilt-ridden about her fortune is not supported by any of her quotes or records. In fact, people who knew her, including her family and employees, insisted she was not superstitious. The story of Sansas and ghostly influences were simply not part of her life.
So you're telling me the truth is boring? It's just a lady who's sad and rich and likes building stuff? Say it ain't so, Joe. Listen, Sarah was also a brilliant musician, a philanthropist, a savvy businesswoman. She was basically Taylor Swift with a hammer. And a rifle.
And handguns and...
Yeah. The architectural oddities that fueled the legend are surprisingly mundane, but equally fascinating explanations. The strange, curving staircase with the tiny steps, often cited as a feature to confuse spirits, were actually designed to accommodate her severe rheumatoid arthritis.
And those famous doors to nowhere? Many of them were a direct result of the 1906 San Francisco earthquake, which destroyed an entire wing of the house. She had the rubble cleared, but did little else to rebuild. choosing instead to live in her other properties.
Now see, that's a genius move. The earthquake happens, a wing falls off, and she's just like, whatever, I have other houses. It's the most relatable part of the story, and then I'm not cleaning that up kind of a way. There's also a more generous explanation for her decades-long building project. A master's thesis from 1951 suggests that Sarah, a well-documented philanthropist, simply continued building to keep her workers employed. And it's a sad, human story, but some of the most compelling things are.
The greatest mystery of the Winchester Mystery House isn't in the walls. It's in the story itself. The house was a direct reflection of Sarah Winchester's personal life. A life of profound grief and physical pain, where she used her passion for architecture and her immense wealth to cope and help others. The true story, a tale of a brilliant woman dealing with loss and chronic illness, was completely eclipsed by a ghost story.
And the final chapter of this legend is one of pure commercial interest. After her death, the neglected and worthless house was purchased by investors for a pittance. And they were like, how do we make money off this pile of rubble? I know! Haha, ghosts! The new owner, and later Harry Houdini, coined the name Winchester Mystery House and fabricated the ghost story to make it a profitable tourist attraction. So the whole thing is just a monument to a woman who was sad. But the real story is that the tourist industry took a sad woman and turned her into a circus. And that is the real haunting. So, the story's over, lights are on, and I'm pretty sure I just saw a shadow move in my peripheral vision.
Don't worry, that's just our little guest saying goodbye. They probably moved on to the next house. Or maybe the next snack. Who knows?
Let's hope they didn't take any of your stuff.
Or a Winchester.
Bang!
You know, I always thought the most terrifying dolls were the old porcelain ones with the cracked faces and soulless eyes.
Oh, you would think so. But I think a doll that's supposed to be a symbol of childhood joy and friendship is way more terrifying when it's haunted. It's a betrayal. It's like the ghost is saying, you thought you were safe with a beloved Disney character? Think again. It's a psychological horror, my friend. A truly modern haunting.
Today we're talking about one of the most unusual haunting cases we've ever covered. A Disney's Frozen Elsa doll that was gifted for Christmas 2013 in the Houston area and seemingly became haunted. And his family went viral in 2020.
So a ghost decided to let it go right into a kid's bedroom. I bet the ghost was sick of the song and just wanted to turn it off.
And I wouldn't blame it. The doll, a standard toy that sings the popular song Let It Go when a button is depressed, was a gift for Emily Madonia's daughter, according to Madonia. For the first 2 years, the doll worked as expected. But in 2015, things began to get strange. The doll started to randomly alternate between singing and speaking in both English and Spanish.
So it became bilingual on its own. It's not just a ghost, that's an overachiever. And it probably has an incredible resume trying to get into Ivy League afterlife school. Just don't tell Ice about it. On second thought, I guess that's kind of appropriate, I guess.
What's even more bizarre is that the doll continued to function even when its power switch was turned to the off position. The family never changed the batteries in the 6 years they owned it, and yet it would still randomly sing and speak.
So a ghost with a high-efficiency energy source. New level of scary. It's like the ghost is saying, I'm not just a regular haunting. I'm a sustainable haunting. I'm good for your environment and bad for your sanity.
The Bedonia family, freaked out by the doll's unexplained behavior, put it in a trash bag and threw it away. But a few weeks later, they found it in the middle of their living room, still singing and speaking.
So it's a haunted doll that can teleport? Ghost is getting a little too powerful. I mean, first it learns a new language, now it's breaking the laws of physics. What's next? Is it going to file their taxes? I mean, the kids even denied putting it there, which, you know, when kids are scared, that's like a whole new level of terror.
In an attempt to get rid of it for good, the family took more drastic measures. They double-bagged the doll, taped it up, and placed it at the bottom of their garbage can, under a pile of other trash. The garbage truck collected it, and the family even went out of town to be sure.
So they literally took out the trash, and the trash came back with a vengeance. That's a new level of creepy. It's like a horror movie where the monster's a toy you can get at the grocery store. It's truly a modern nightmare.
To their horror, the doll once again appeared in the living room a few weeks later. This time, it had been a gift from a friend of the family who had found it at a secondhand store. The doll, with a familiar face and unsettling song, was back. The daughter even confirmed it was the same doll because of the markings she had made on its limbs.
No. That's just not right. It's like the doll is saying, "You can't get rid of me. I'm a ghost, a toy, and a very persistent stalker. I will find you, and I will sing Let It Go to you for all eternity." And a friend gave it back. Some friends they've got, right? Jeez.
I won't let it go. Let it go.
Get it out.
The family finally mailed the doll to a friend in Minnesota, hoping to get as far away as possible. The friend, Chris Hogan, reportedly taped the doll to the brush guard of its Jeep as a way to confront it. The family has since stated the doll has not returned to them.
So it's a ghost on the go. It's like a haunted millennial who has too much money and chooses to Airbnb hop. Just like one place to another, scaring people and singing songs. And the family, they're probably still checking their mail to make sure the doll hasn't sent them a postcard.
And that was our story on the haunted Elsa doll. It's a modern day ghost story that shows that a haunting can happen anywhere, to anyone, through anything.
Yeah, I think I'm going to stick to vintage ghosts. At least they're usually a little more predictable. This modern tech-savvy ghost is too much to handle.
Well, before we go, I have one more question for you. What do you think the doll's deal is? Is it a tormented soul, or is it just a mischievous spirit?
I think it's a marketing haunt. It's trying to get that movie more airtime. Like, the doll was popular, but the story made it a legend, and Ghost is probably a business major from the afterlife.
Thanks for tuning into Ghost Bites. We'll be back when the candle is lit.
Man, those ghost bites were tasty. So I finally figured out what I'm here to do. I'm not here for a writer's meeting. I'm here to host this week's Octoberpod while Ed's stuck in the spirit world. Okay, now let's see. We listened to Twisted and Uncorked in the writer's room. That was Act 1. Then I had a bowl of ghost bites during the intermission. All I have to do now is introduce Act 2. Now, where would we find our second act? Oh, I've got it. Come on, come with me, everyone. We're here in Edward October's Library of the Macabre in the basement of the Octoberpod Ranch in the Great Smoky Mountains. I'm sure this episode's second act is here somewhere. Let me just peruse the spines of these dusty volumes of forgotten lore. Let's see, 1984, 100 Years of Solitude, 100 in the Dark and Other Stories, 10 Little Indians, 2001, The Two Towers, 3 Spooked Girls, The Three Musketeers. Wait a minute! 3 Spooked Girls isn't a book. It's a true crime and paranormal podcast. That must be our second act. Okay, folks, intermission time is over. And when I crack open this book, it means that Act 2 starts now.
When you want to hear about the paranormal, you get the Spooked Girls. True crime that makes you hypothermal. With the 3 Spooked Girls, stabby snippets will give you dreams. Tara and Jessica will make you afraid, along with the Spooked Girls. Bring on the slaughter, we on that haunted ground. The 3 Spooked Girls.
It is Tara and Jessica, and we're just going to get right into it.
Okay. So I'm going to start off in the grand state of Ohio in a place called the Golden Lamb. Jonas Seaman founded the Golden Lamb in 1803 in the newly settled town of Lebanon with a $4 license to operate and in quotations, it says, house of public entertainment.
That
I
could
don't know
go
what that
one
means,
of two ways.
but-
That could go like a bar or like something brothely.
Like live nudes in the back moment.
Right. Let's be real. That's where my brain went.
Mine too. Okay. He couldn't have fathomed that 2 centuries later, it remained a community gathering place that earned the nickname Lebanon's Living Room. That's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
But living locals aren't the only fans. Several spirits are still said to roam the rooms of the restaurant and the hotel. There's Clement L. Vandelandingham. That name, I'm like...
Vandelandingham. Say that 5 times fast, y'all.
that's a lot. Who apparently was a renowned U.S. congressman from Ohio who accidentally shot himself in the room now that bears his name. Ohio Supreme Court Justice Charles R. Sherman, who suddenly died in the inn at the age of 41, and a little girl who's believed to either be the spirit of Sarah Stubbs, who lived at the Golden Lamb as a child, or Eliza Clay, the daughter of the politician Henry Clay, who fell ill and perished. This is like a place where people die.
Holy fuck, yeah.
I'm trying to think of like, oh, it's in A Million Ways to Die in the West, and they're like, people die at the fair. It's like, people die at the Golden Lamb.
All right. Well, my first one, we're going to head to Wisconsin, and it is called the Walker House. The Walker House started as a cave carved out of limestone and sandstone rock by Cornish miners who used the space to live and work in the 1820s. By 1836, the miners expanded into a small stone house, then a 15,000 square foot block long 3-story building in the late 1850s. Well, damn, they upgraded big time.
Right.
The Walker House fed and lodged travelers coming off the train at the Mineral Point Depot across the street. These days, diners can stop in for lunch on Fridays and Mondays in 2 of the original caves, the front patio and the restored Cornish pub. Cornish beef pasties, a handheld meat pie that traditionally sustained miners through long work days, to modern interpretations such as Euro-inspired pasty. Be sure to leave some pasty crust on your plates to appease the Tommyknockers, elf-like ghosts who... I like that they're elf ghosts. Sorry, I had to interrupt myself.
Happy holidays. Have
Right?
an elf ghost.
Honestly, who purportedly live in the caves, but they're not the only specters here. Co-owner Kathy Villian-Court says that psychics and paranormal investigators have identified 22 ghosts throughout the Walker House's colorful history. There's William Caffey, who's been sighted looking for his head, allegedly hanged nearby. The Lady in Black, who helped President Lincoln write his Gettysburg Address. The little girl in blue running in the hallway looking for her room, and the ghost cat sunning himself in the west windows. Oh my god.
My god. This is like literally a holiday of fun, because if we look at any kind of like holiday spirits, there's always elves or dwarves or cats.
Yes. Oh my god, yes.
Okay. So now we're going to travel to New York, and we're going to go to the Ear Inn. It's like ear as in like the thing on your head.
Okay.
E-A-R. Established in 1817 in the historical James Brown House, the Ear Inn is one of the oldest operating bars in New York City, even during Prohibition, when it became a speakeasy. By the time it reopened post-Prohibition, it had earned a reputation as a boys' club for sailors to eat, drink, and gamble. The upstairs was known as many things over the years, including a boarding house, a brothel, and a doctor's office. I mean, that seems pretty legit. Like, you could live, do other things.
Have the sex, and then get your checkup.
Right, for the sex that may have caused diseases altogether. But the ground floor still upholds the Ears Tavern tradition as a gathering place serving food, drinks, and merriment. A few friendly specters have been known to make their presence known too, including, quote-unquote, Mickey, who for the last century has been waiting for his clipper ship to come into the harbor. The Ear is best known for its burgers, but there's plenty more on the step-up pub grub menu, including dishes such as smoked rainbow trout and confit duck legs. I mean, that's a spectrum.
Right, honestly. All right. Well, my next one, we're going to head to Arkansas, and it is called the 4-Quarter Bar. Though Dive Bar 4-Quarter Bar opened in 2016, it's housed in a North Little Rock building that has been home to bars at various points since the early 1900s. 4-Quarter Bar quickly earned a reputation for its live music, bar food, and strong drinks, but the libations aren't the only things that are spirited here. Bargoers have glimpsed women in old clothing who then disappear and have overheard someone in the bathroom speaking in an ancient-sounding dialect.
Ooh.
Interesting. I'm like, what exactly does that mean? But okay. Even delivery drivers have had encounters witnessing chairs move and sinks turn on by themselves. Staff can also attest to the place's spookiness, observing things flying off the shelves behind the bar during service and an old whiskey bottle that has repeatedly come crashing down. Oh, so I think the ghosts either want a drink or don't like that whiskey.
They're like, no, this is subpar whiskey. Thank you. Please provide better.
Right. All right. Well, now we're going to jump over to Tennessee to Finn's Tavern. Finn's Tavern is a recent addition to the Knoxville dining scene, but the Baker Peter house, the two-story antebellum home it occupies, dates to 1830. And it seemed that some ancient spirits still call it home, too. 2 days before the restaurant opened in 2018, owner John Fury was locking up and heading downstairs by the kitchen door. Suddenly, he felt a cold spiral of air surrounding his body move up to his head and then back down to his waist before evaporating. Other spooky shenanigans include lights flickering, music changing mysteriously, and glassware and kegs moving on their own. Man, all these places we picked today is the ghosts move fucking with the liquor.
Right. They're like, we don't like you drinking here.
Right.
Maybe they're all prohibition.
Possibly.
They're all prohibition agents.
Or they just want to get drunk. Who knows?
That's true. They're like, I'm watching the show Ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
It's on CBS. And one of the ghosts has the power to like move stuff. So maybe he's just like, I moved it, but now I can't get it.
Oh, sad.
Okay, so now we're going to the state of Washington. I'm very happy with my choices I picked today. Okay, this is Billy's Bar and Grill in Washington. Built in 1904, the Crowther Wooding Building is one of the oldest buildings in Aberdeen. It was the home to Red Cross, then a drugstore, and turning into a series of taverns. Since 1980, it has been the home to Billy's Bar and Grill. Despite taking name inspiration from local serial killer Billy Gohl, its reputation as a brothel in the 1950s, you can even still see the bullet hole in the wall that alleged to have come from an enraged madam who shot her pimp. Damn, lady.
Get it?
Billy's is a family-friendly spot with gourmet pub grub. It's hard to say who's responsible for the paranormal activity, which includes the smell of mysterious cigarette smoke, music suddenly blaring, and the sounds of children giggling and running up and down the halls, and coffee cups flying off the wall, to just name a few occurrences. I love that all of these things have just been things falling off the wall. But this time they're attacking coffee, which, no, bad spirits.
Right.
We need the coffee. Okay. From the roster of creative burgers, opt for the big cheese, in which 2 grilled cheese and bacon sandwiches stand for the bun, or the aptly named Ghost Burger topped with ghost peppers, jalapenos, and chipotle sriracha. Pair this with a Red Snapper Bloody Mary crafted with local gin and the house-made Bloody Mary mix. My God. That last burger sounds like I'm not going to feel well in like a few hours.
I will let somebody else eat that because I think I would like get the biggest stomach ache, but it sounds cool. I'd eat the grilled cheese. Just give me the top.
It's like, it's one of those things where I would be like, okay, I'm going to eat this as like, I'd eat like a bite of it or something, but I don't know if I would. I mean, the hot one, the grilled cheese one, I'd be like, yes, thank you.
All right. So we're going to go to Minnesota and we're going to talk about the Blackwoods Bar and Grill. So this actually is like, I'm assuming a small, like locally owned type chain type thing because it says it has 3 locations. But its Two Harbors location tends to feel a little more spirited. Prior to the restaurant's opening in 1994, the building housed as an orphanage. Supposedly, a young orphan named Sarah fell down the stairs here. Local lore has it that her restless spirit is the cause for some of the restaurant's haunted happenings. Diners and staff alike have reported seeing a woman in a white gown who suddenly appears and then vanishes just as quickly, hearing phantom footsteps and disembodied voices, and feeling a cold chill as if someone is breathing down the back of their neck. Ugh, that's always so creepy. Just about everyone on staff, many of whom have worked there over 15 years, have their own Sarah story. Fan favorites include late night shenanigans when Filbert nuts went flying off the bar top, again, throwing shit. And one longtime chef reported seeing a salt shaker being repeatedly knocked off a ledge during a solo cleaning session.
Okay, we are going to go to Texas. We're going to go to Ambrosia's, which makes me think of salad, but it's not really
I've never
salad.
ate that. Oh, did I tell you what I realized yesterday that I've never eaten?
No.
I've never
What?
had the Little Debbie Christmas tree things. I've never ate those. The little cake things that are like Christmas trees. Have you ate
Aren't they
them?
just like the other? I mean, I can't remember if I've ever eaten them, but
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I have not.
aren't they just like their other cakes? They're just like shaped like Christmas trees.
I guess. I don't know. I've never ate them. I saw a TikTok on it and I like commented and I was like, I feel like I'm the only human who has it. And like people were like, what the fuck? You need to eat them.
I also feel like I don't know if I've eaten them. Maybe it's like where we were.
Possibly. Okay, sorry.
And then we got too old. Okay, so we're going to go to Texas to Ambrosia. When brothers Pete and Ton Tran found the location for the Ambrosia, their Southwest Asian-inspired Houston restaurant, they knew there was something special about the building's ambiance. The mood lends itself to the sultry design, outfitted with iron lanterns, a bat-like fountain anchored by a roaring lion, and lush tropical plants. It also sets the scene for a vibe of the other kind, a spooky one. Staff often reports feeling that they're being watched when they're alone. They hear things moving around and see kitchen utensils moving around out of the corner of their eye. Some have heard their names being called out despite being alone. Oh, that would freak me out. Got the chills a little bit.
No, thank you.
There's even a video of frozen margarita machine toggle switch flipping on itself. That spirit wanted booze.
Mm-hmm.
It's more ambiance than the trans bargained for, but you can score a bargain of your own during the Ambrosia's daily happy hour specials.
All right, y'all. Well, for our last haunted restaurant, we are going to go to Hawaii, and it is the Hilton Hawaiian Village. Hawaii is known for its beautiful beaches, island hospitality, and tropical R&R vibes. Honolulu's Hilton Hawaiian Village has all of that in spades, but you might catch the chills if you spot the lady in a red dress, a spirit who has been seen in the hotel and along nearby Waikiki Beach. Local lore has it that she's the ghost of someone who died on the property, while other theories suggest that it is the volcano goddess Madame Pele. Happily, you can still get your fill of island hospitality at one of the property's eateries, a top-notch steak at Bali Steak and Seafood, each seasoned with a blend of Kona sea salt, local herbs, and spices, or toast the night with a Mai Tai at Tropics Bar and Grill. Okay.
I'm down for it.
Right. Add it to the list.
So with that, we're going to go ahead and dive into our first story. Tara's going to read us. Take it away, girly.
Yes. So our first story of the episode comes from Lucy. And y'all know I love when you put titles as your subject lines. So Lucy's is Aliens Like to Go Fishing. Growing up, my mom's side of the family would all vacation together in Otter Tail County, Minnesota every year for the last 2 weeks of July. We would all go to the same resort to fish. These were the best memories of my life, running free with my cousins for 2 weeks, left to explore and have fun. In 1991, when I was 12 and my cousin Rob was 13, we went out to the dock around 10 p.m. fishing for the walleye that would come out into the swimming area to feed on minnows. These fish were stubborn. We never caught any, but we tried every year. As we were goofing around and trying to catch the big one, we looked out to the middle of the lake and noticed there was something in the air. Now, keep in mind, this is not a huge lake. I've attached a picture so you can see. 1 year, all the cousins decided we would swim to the other side. Yeah, we got in trouble for that, risking our lives or something. I don't know.
Because boats.
So anyway, we looked out and suddenly see this round thing in the air hovering over the lake. It kind of snuck up on us because it was totally silent. This thing was probably about 100 yards from us and looked easily to be 200 feet across and totally silent. It was silverish and had lights all around the edge. It looked like your typical flying saucer. The lights were blinking in a pattern that made it look like the lights were moving around the craft. We were all so stunned we didn't know what to do. We stood there asking each other in whispers if we were really seeing this. It hovered there for about 5 minutes, and then all of a sudden, a large light came out of the bottom of the craft, beamed down into the water, sucked stuff up into the craft, and then was suddenly gone. No sound, just gone.
Oh my God.
We tried to tell our parents, but they didn't believe us. I'm not sure what they were doing. Maybe they just wanted fish for dinner. It definitely solidified for me that there is other life out there. Fair. I do have some spirit experiences, my animals acting weird and refusing to enter rooms, orbs, my daughter giggling at nothing, her recognizing her grandpa who died before she was born in a picture, her baby monitor moving in the middle of the night, but nothing fully story-worthy. I beg to differ. I feel like all of that is story-worthy.
Right? Oh my God.
So that's my story. Thank you for hours of entertainment and information you share with us. We've grown attached to you, ladies, and love listening. We hope that we have many more years in the future to enjoy. Aw, thank you.
Well, we love that. Thank you so much.
So
I love that
nice.
it's like, I love when families listen. Like sometimes I
know.
get a little like, oh my God, I curse too much for kids. But then I'm like, at this point, if you're letting your kids listen to me drop an F-bomb, you're fine with it. So
Yeah, that's their choice.
right? I have removed the guilt from my life on that.
hmm
Therapy. It works. Okay. Our next story comes from Anise. They write, "Hello, friends. I have quite a few stories, but I thought I'd share a more recent one with you ghouls. I moved into my now apartment in June of 2023. I moved in a half a month early than my roommate. It's a second floor apartment in a 2-story family house in the town both myself and my friend / roomie grew up in. Our downstairs neighbors at the time were an elderly woman and her young female roommate. With that background in place, I can't really tell you if I was asleep, awake, or in the middle. I clearly remember an Indigenous American man standing in my bedroom doorway. He was wearing a full headdress, chest plate, and traditional clothes. He just stood there, didn't say a word. I only told the story to my friend / roommate at the time. Fast forward a few months, my friend had moved in and we were outside talking to our downstairs neighbors. Of course, ghosts were brought up. She had informed us that there were spirits in the house. Cool, fine, nothing new. Almost everywhere I've lived has been haunted. So many more stories for another time. Please provide more stories. We love stories. We want them. I proceeded to tell them my dream / awake encounter. They both just looked at each other. The elderly woman tells me, "That's my father. I have his headdress in my closet." We all kind of went silent. I had no idea she was even Indigenous American, and this was the first time telling her the story. I haven't seen him since that night. That's cool that there's like a personal connection. His daughter lives downstairs and he just wants to make sure you're a good person. Like, that's really sweet. I love a good, sweet ghost story.
Me too. I think they're my favorite.
For sure.
Okay, my other story for the episode comes from Bug, and based on your name alone, I had to pick it, so here we are. I love this. Bug also provided a title for their story, and their subject line read, "Lizzie Not Borden, a True Crime Encounter."
Ooh.
So Bug writes, "Hey, Tara, Jess, Kate, and fellow spooksters. I'm Bug, and I have been building up the courage to email some stories ever since I started listening 5 years ago." Well, I'm so glad you finally did. I love this. Thank you. Love this podcast so much. I think I've recommended it to everyone I know at this point. Oh, thank you. Oh my God. That means so much to us. Genuinely. Thank you. The encounter I have for you today sounds like something straight out of a movie or something, but I swear that it's all real. A few years ago, my best friend told me about her cousin. For anonymity's sake, we'll call her Lizzie. You'll see why. Lizzie's mom was kind of crazy. We're going to call her Jane. I love this.
Okay.
I love this. While pregnant with Lizzie, she would threaten baby daddy via drinking and doing drugs to get her way in arguments and such. Worst thing is that Jane would follow through on these threats. I'm telling you this because we all know Lizzie has problems that were due to her mother's mistreatment of her as a literal fetus, and then also while growing up. Unfortunately, the abuse didn't even stop at just Lizzie. Jane was not really a nice person. Not justifying what happened to her, simply an observation. The story really starts when Lizzie met her boyfriend, who we're going to call Steve. They met when Lizzie was in college. She's so smart, borderline genius. Now, I don't know much about this guy. Nobody in their family really does. We just know that he started putting some terrible ideas in Lizzie's head, or at least her family is sure of it. Her family doesn't believe that she planned everything on her own. It's probably important to mention that Lizzie still lived with her mom at this point. One night, Lizzie decided to get a long electrical cord, I believed it was from a lamp, but I'm unsure, snuck into Jane's room and strangled her to death. She then took her mom's body into the backyard and cut her into pieces, which she then stored in those big Rubbermaid bins in her house for weeks.
Oh my God.
When the body started smelling, that's when Lizzie realized she needed to do something else. During this time, nobody was looking for Jane. She was supposed to be on a business trip in Mexico. Everybody simply assumed that that's where she was, until she didn't come back when she was supposed to. That's when the cops knocked on Lizzie's door. When questioned, she said that Jane was in Mexico and that was all she knew. Then the cops left. And then the first bin was discovered. Literally, like the night before, Lizzie had taken the bins with Jane's body and threw them in public dumpsters around LA. So the cops went back to talk to Lizzie. She wasn't really a suspect at this time, but you want to know what she did? The police knocked on her door and started asking her questions. You know, is there anyone who would want to hurt your mother and such? Lizzie confessed. No tears, nothing. Just straight up was like, yep, I wanted to hurt her, so I did. Then she told them where to find the rest of the body. She said that Steve wasn't involved at all. He was a suspect, even longer story. Safe to say, trial and sentencing were surprisingly easy for this case. Lizzie is still in prison, likely to get parole for good behavior in the next few years. I know her family is ready to have her back. California has a program where inmates can learn skills/go to trade schools so they can become better members of society when they get out. Want to guess what Lizzie is studying to become? An electrician.
Oh.
Anyway, that's all for now. I will have to email about my haunted high school that left me and many of my friends with good campfire stories for years to come, as well as some truly spine-tingling adventures I've gone on across the world. Stay spooky, guys, gals, and non-binary pals. Bug. All right, well, I will hand it to you for our last story of the episode.
Thank you. Our next story comes from Kate, which I always love when it's from Kate, because it's like we have the ghost Kate, and it always makes me a little happy when the name, or if it's like our names. I don't know. I'm weird. You guys love me anyway, so it's fine. Okay. This comes from Kate. It says, "Hi, Tara, Jessica, and Kate. I love listening to the show, and I have listened for years, and it makes my commute to work so much better. And I've even started to play your podcast for my colleagues on the laboratory speakers."
Thanks. That's fun.
I do have several follow-up questions, Kate. What kind of like laboratory are you in? And do our stories like overall, what's the consensus? Take a straw poll. I need to know.
Oh my God.
Okay. Now, luckily or unluckily, I haven't had a lot of paranormal experiences in my life, but one thing I remember from my childhood has stuck out in my head. I don't remember much of my childhood, so the fact that this stuck must mean something. When I was 5 years old, me and my family lived in Essex, England, and I used to have a recurring nightmare about a wolf I named the Big Bad Wolf. Okay, I first have to say, I too had recurring nightmares about wolves. And so this story like struck a chord. Mine was just chasing me. Like I would have these dreams where wolves would just chase me all the time, like through woods, like Snow White style. Hers are a little bit more like personalized. He would stand on his hind legs and his front arms would hang like human arms. So like think the wolf from Shrek. That's what I was envisioning, but scary.
Yeah.
And not in a nightgown. He had been a dark gray color with matted fur, pointy ears, and so many teeth. I never forgot the snarl that he used to haunt my nightmares. Most nights for many months, he would chase me around the house, school, and would always find me when I would try to hide. My dreams were no longer safe. This took a strangely humorous turn when I heard a way to get rid of scary nightmares. It is to think of something that could get rid of whatever was disturbing your sleep, kind of like lucid dreaming. I like this. I might have to use this in my life now. Like how if you're drowning, you're supposed to think of a boat. I hadn't decided on what it was going to be, but my subconscious decided for me. The wolf next showed up at my front door. I slammed it in its face and I turned to run upstairs. For some reason, old Mother Hubbard, yes, from the fairy tale, opened the door and asked if he was the Big Bad Wolf and beat him with her old-timey stick broom, and he never came back. The way I woke up from this final recurring nightmare is the spookiest of all. I felt myself roll over in my sleep from my back to my left side, way from the edge of the bed, and then I felt myself hit the floor. I sat up from where I landed to be on the opposite end of the room. Now, I was a small kid and I hadn't moved or rolled even when I hit the floor, but I was a good 5 feet from the bed when I woke up. It was very confusing, I know, but I never had forgotten that night. And in the 2 decades since this happened, I've never had a dream about the wolf again. I hope you enjoyed this story. My boyfriend has actually seen a couple of ghosts in the Lake District, so let me know if you'd like me to ask him to write those out.
Yes.
Yes, please. That's crazy. Lucid dreaming or like nightmares are just terrifying. So thank you for everyone who shared their stories today. We love getting them from you and hearing your stories. So please continue to send them in. The place to send those to is our email, which is 3spookedgirls@gmail.com. We look forward to reading more of them in the future. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Well, folks, after all of that, Ed and the other writers still haven't returned from their adventures in the spirit world. Botched exorcism, indeed. Sheesh. I bet they're really in the underworld having a raging kegger with Rollo and some of his demon friends. They can find their way back on their own as far as I'm concerned. While I'm here, I think I might go to Dollywood. Yeah, Dollywood. Anyway, thanks for joining us for another Octoberpod, folks. It was a pleasure being your guest host. Ed will be back in 2 weeks with more true, true-ish, and classic tales of horror and the paranormal. And so, until the next time, this is Whitney Zahar, wishing you pleasant dreams.
Stick around after the credits for a brief word from some of our fellow indie podcasters, creators, and friends. There may even be some bloopers, outtakes, and bonus content as well.
Twisted and Uncorked is hosted and produced by Sierra Zorn and Alicia Watson. If you like the show, don't forget to leave a 5-star rating and review wherever you are listening now. It really is the best way to spread the word. You can check out all things Twisted on our website, twistedanduncorked.com.
Ghost Bites is a production of Brew Crime Podcast. Intro music composed and produced by Jamie McDonald, also known as MD Boomsday, and found on Spotify as Chatterless. Logo design by JT. Sources can be found in the show notes. Thanks for coming on the spooky journey with me, Mike, and JT.
If you want to hang out with us on social media, you can do so by heading over to Facebook, Instagram, Threads, all the places on the internet that has an at something something. We are there, and we are at 3 Spooked Girls. Also, if you would like to interact with Tara and I or other like-minded spooksters, head over to our Facebook group, 3 Spooked Girls Official. It's fun. We also have a Patreon. If you didn't know, it is patreon.com/3 Spooked Girls. For little as $1, you get a bonus episode each month, and then after that, there are other tiers that have other things like $5 and up, get ad-free episodes the day before. Also, if you want more Tara and Jessica and you're like, where can I get it? We have a second podcast. It's called The Social Seance Society. It is basically like Tara and I's brainchild that just kind of like lives on the internet. Check it out. They're pretty great.
You have been listening to Octoberpod. Octoberpod is produced, edited, and directed by Edward October. The series co-producers are MJ McAdams and Amber Jordan. Logo and banner graphics by Jessica Good. Edward October character design by Nick Calavera. Select still photography courtesy of Unsplash.com. Select music cues by Dr. Dreamchip and various other stock music and sound effects courtesy of freesound.org. Music from Bigfoot Apocalypse and Thorax, theme from Octoberpod, composed by Nico Vitezi. All other images, music, and FX cues, except where noted, are sourced from within the public domain. Follow us on YouTube at Octoberpod Home Video, on Instagram, and the app I still call Twitter at Octoberpod VHS, and on TikTok and Blue Sky at Octoberpod. Or find us and all of our links on the World Wide Web at octoberpodvhs.com. For business inquiries or story submissions, email octoberpod@gmail.com. If you enjoyed this program, we'd be very pleased if you told your friends about us. And while you're at it, write us a 5-star or equivalent review wherever you're listening. The man who spoke to you was Mr. Edward October.
Are you looking for a new podcast to listen to? Why not try Tis Yourself? Hosted by me, Nicola Barton, I interview your favourite TV stars from shows like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Friends, The OC, Scrubs, EastEnders, and many, many more. The likes of Tate Donovan told me about dating Jennifer Aniston, or what Matthew Perry was like on set, and you'll want to hear what Dan Florrick had to say about SVU. So come find Tis Yourself. It is the best new podcast you've never heard of.
Welcome to Chatsunami, a Scottish variety podcast that discusses topics from gaming and films to anime and general interests. Join me, your host, Satsunami, as well as the rest of our Chatsunami team for our takes on these very important pop culture topics.
Sir, it's clearly a trap. I accept your fate! That happens 3 times in the film. Like every time that general goes, don't do this one thing, he goes, do you know what I'm gonna do? That's exact.
It does as well. She had the pointy teeth. What was that about?
She looked like Bilbo when he wants the ring back.
She did, didn't she? I just want the lightsaber one more time.
Parasite says, no, you will get back into your office and work.
No, says the man in Zoom. Yeah. Trousers are for the working man.
You're bursting into your hotel room. Honey, we need to go.
Leave the kids. You can milk an audition. Oh!
That's the worst thing you've ever said in any of the episodes.
If that sounds like your cup of tea, then you can check us out at our website, chatsunami.com, as well as all good podcast apps. As always, stay safe, stay awesome, and most importantly, stay hydrated.
Stay classy and have a banana. This has been Tsunami.
I'm sorry.
South Africa, a country whose spectacular beauty and dynamic people are known the world over. But there's another side to our country, and one that is rarely discussed in the detail it deserves. Join me, Nicole Engelbrecht, on True Crime South Africa, South Africa's first victim-focused true crime podcast, as we go beyond the headlines, focus on the victims, and explore some of South Africa's most heinous violent crimes. True Crime South Africa is available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Even so, the restaurant maintains a cozy vibe with a roaring fireplace and low lighting. From the Irish-leaning comfort food menu, don't miss the signatures like fish and chips, corned beef and cabbage, and chicken Tipperary, an almond and apple stuffed apple chicken breast paired with mashed potatoes and glazed carrots.
That sounds num-nums.
Right? I like it.
My fun fact today is about poison dart frogs. Have you ever been to the zoo and you see the poison dart frogs and you're like, oh my God, if those things got out, you know? My kids do that all the time. Every time we go, they're like, what if one gets out? What if one gets us? Like, I don't think that's how it works. You know, there's a difference between poisonous and venomous. But anyway, the fun fact is that poison dart frogs get their poison from the animal they eat as well.
What?
So, okay, the difference between poisonous and venomous, right, is poisonous means if you eat it, you get the poison. Venomous means if it eats you, you get the poison. So it's poisonous, we can't eat it. Its prey can't eat it. But poison dart frogs actually get their poison from the animals they eat, the insects. They eat poisonous animals to become poisonous. So the poison dart frogs that are kept in captivity, in zoos and whatnot, usually aren't even poisonous because they're not being fed poisonous insects. Very interesting.
That is a wild rabbit hole of poison. And I get the fear of the unknown, and the fear of something getting out or the fear of something following you completely. It is innocent in the mind of a child with a little frog. And it is expanded to the stuff that we are going to talk about today. I'll just say that. But my fun fact is spooky related, spooky adjacent, but also something that Sierra and I deeply love, which is crows. And I often tell people that dislike crows or react adversely towards them when they're around, that crows can specifically remember human faces, especially if they have a reason to dislike or distrust that person. Research has showed that they can hold a grudge for an extremely long time and pass that information on to other crows. We see a little spoofy version of this in one of our favorite shows, The Big Bang Theory, when they are competing for that research grant and the crow lady basically sicks her crows on Sheldon and Leonard. They learn in that episode that they can indeed remember faces and hold grudges. So don't mess with your neighborhood crows, people. Just don't do it.
Yeah, they can also remember faces in good ways. So maybe feed your neighborhood crows. Make them like you.
Yes. Sierra and I have a mission to make crows eventually bring us shiny objects because we are worth it. But I don't think either of us are working too hard in that department.
I definitely have crows here at the new property, but there's so many birds that it's hard to like single out the crows. When I feed the birds, all of them eat.
Yeah, so that's fair. That's fair. Maybe you got to go out there with your seeds specifically when there's crows around so they remember your face.
Yeah.
You're like, see, I know that they're also eating your seed, but this is really for you. Bring me shiny things. That and one of my favorite stories that Sierra ever told on Patreon, which was eventually released to the main feed on the story that may or may not have been true about crows helping solve a murder. So just
Right.
which is its own irony, because that is what a group of crows is called. But yeah, fun facts for you guys. Now, I hinted at things getting out and a haunted tour, but this time it's not of different places or buildings, but of objects. Specifically, the most haunted objects in Ed and Lorraine's Haunted Museum in honor of the new Conjuring movie coming out on Friday as we record this.
When it's not charged with paranormal activity, Blackwoods exudes a classic steakhouse vibe with oversized booths, low lighting, and Frank Sinatra on the speakers. I like that. That'd be a fun date night. Good date night vibes. Feast on feature signature dishes like bulldog bites, seared beef cubes tailor-made for dunking into the accompanying horseradish sauce, or for a taste of the region, opt for the Minnesota wild rice patty smothered with Gouda and sandwiched between 2 slices of cranberry wild rice bread. That sounds interesting, because I like Gouda and I like cranberry. I'd try it.
I would too. I would definitely too.
9th floor. Here we go. And tonight's topic is a doozy. Mind your step. Dean will tell them what they... No. 9th floor. Here we go. And tonight
Happily, the creative comfort food menu is more thrills than chills. Dishes include local pork such as pulled pork hash and cheese-stuffed smoked meatloaf are a sure bet, but come late night, the kitchen's open till 1:30 a.m., you can't beat a Spam, egg, and cheese sandwich or a greasy in the best way possible burger.
Nice.
Right? They also have kind of an array.
I know.
Oh, God. Okay, hold on. I didn't write my phonetics. Hold on. How do you say.com?
The Golden Lamb signature dishes are just a story. Try the local famous sauerkraut balls, a nod to the region's German heritage, in which pork and beef are combined with a savory kraut, seasoned with a proprietary blend and roasted, and then served with a cocktail sauce and house mustard for dipping. Okay, I'm gonna be honest, I don't like sauerkraut that much, but that sounds delicious.
Mm-hmm.
Be sure to save room for a slice of Sister Lizzie's Shaker Sugar Pie, a butter brown sugar nutmeg number that has been served since 1927.
Dang. I love it.
It's like deliciousness.
Yes.